Wasabi guys, more spoilers here for Rivals of Ixalan on January 2nd. First one we have here is Zetalpa Primal Dawn, an 8-mana white 4/8 Elder Dinosaur, legendary creature. Looks like a gigantic pterodactyl, just fantastic. Has a bunch of awesome keywords here: flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, and indestructible. However, I just don't really see it in standard. I think it's just way too expensive, and once you get it out there, it's just as susceptible to exiling removal as things like Hazaret, other creatures that are indestructible in the format. So honestly, its best place is going to be in Commander. Pair it up with something like Odric Lunarch Marshal, and you have a way to give all your creatures these wonderful keywords. Pretty cool. Next card we have is Glorious Destiny. I'll give you a translation here. It is a 3-mana white enchantment with Ascend. Ascend gives you the City's Blessing, remember. As Glorious Destiny enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type, and creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. So it's your basic Anthem effect, but they have vigilance as long as you have the City's Blessing. I think it's cool. I think it definitely could see some play in standard if you want to make a token build. Anthems go really well with tokens. I don't necessarily know if the mana is worth it, but I think it's definitely interesting. And the next card we have here is Path to Discovery, yet another translation, a 4-mana green enchantment that says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it explores. We just got a pretty cool sorcery yesterday that works pretty well with the explore mechanic, allows you to play an extra land. So if there is indeed a way to make an explore deck in standard, this is yet another interesting card to help you do that. Do I think it's going to see a lot of standard play? Who knows? But it is pretty interesting, and it's also something I might consider for Commander. Next card we have is Shrine Altisor, yet another one that needs a translation. A 5-mana white 3/4 dinosaur that says if a source would deal damage to another dinosaur you control, prevent all but one of that damage. Oh my gosh, I think we found a limited bomb here. Absolutely fantastic. I think it could also see some playability in standard. Defensive cards aren't always the best, but it does protect your other dinosaurs. You can just sit back, block for you. Your other dinosaurs can block for you, and they're not going to take that much damage. Overall, don't know necessarily if white dinosaur decks are going to be a thing. Dinosaurs in standard haven't been doing too well, but they are pretty interesting. The next card we have is Seafloor Oracle, a 4-mana 2/3 blue Merfolk Wizard. Whenever a Merfolk you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So it's your typical coastal piracy effect on a Merfolk, which isn't bad at all. More card draw makes it more consistent, and it can already see play alongside Kumena, which is also pretty good. Works out pretty well because Kumena can make himself unblockable. Swing, you can also draw a card off of that. That's not a bad synergy. Overall, don't necessarily know if it's going to see standard play, but it's definitely going to see some Commander play. And we have yet another card that needs a translation. Tilanali's Summoner, a 2-mana red 1/1 creature here with Ascend. So if you have 10 or more permanents, you have the City's Blessing. And whenever it attacks, you may pay X and a red. If you do, create X 1/1 elemental tokens tapped and attacking. And at the beginning of the next end step, exile them unless you have the City's Blessing. So I don't really think red needed any more support in standard right now, but this is pretty interesting. Definitely if you want to go with more of an aggro build. The only iffy thing is that you do have to put more mana into it, but the tokens you get are tapped and attacking. So if you're all about getting that extra bit of damage in there, going wide, this could be a good thing to pair with that Anthem we saw earlier, giving all your creatures +1/+1 while tapped and attacking. That could be a bunch of 2/2s. Definitely something to think about. Don't know about its playability for sure in standard, but it's yet another thing to brew with. Try to make it work. Then we have Peloton of Atonement, a 2-mana 1/1 white vampire knight with at the beginning of each upkeep, if you lost life last turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Peloton of Atonement, and when Peloton of Atonement dies, you gain life equal to its toughness. That's actually not bad. I think if you want to make a vampire deck in standard, this might be one of the pieces that you need. Earlier on, it is pretty easy to get rid of, but if you have any way to sort of pay life through other effects, you could make this work, put more +1/+1 counters. It is each upkeep that you get +1/+1 counters on him, so he could become easily a 3/3 for just 2 mana by the time it's your next turn. And when he dies, you do gain life equal to its toughness, which is, well, fantastic. Grinding out games, it's a very underrated aspect about gaining life in standard, but definitely going to be fitting into Edgar Markov vampire decks as well. And the next card the one that I think we've been waiting for, we've seen this artwork for a while, I've been using it in my videos for a while now. It is Elenda the Dusk Rose, the mythic vampire knight, 4 mana in Orzhov colors. She is a 1/1 legendary creature with lifelink, and whenever another creature dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on Elenda the Dusk Rose. When Elenda dies, create X 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink, where X is Elenda's power. So sort of an upside here: when these creatures die, you get some sort of benefit, whether it's gaining life equal to the toughness or getting a ton of tokens. This is fantastic. I know a lot of people have been sort of, I don't really think it's going to be that good in Standard. I think it could definitely be at least a 2 of. If you want to make vampires work in Standard, it's not going to be super competitive, yeah, I know, but it's at least going to be interesting. We already have some token synergies. We have that new Anthem now. It could definitely work. But if it's not going to see any play in Standard at all, we know at the very least it's going to see play in Commander. Maybe not as a Commander herself, but definitely as one of the 99 in Edgar Markov decks. That seems to be the go-to for vampires nowadays. But I like it. I definitely like her. Lifelink, very underrated. Creatures dying all the time in Commander. She's going to get massive. Going to be harder for your opponents to remove. They're going to have to exile her. Not as good as Kumena as a legendary option. I think Kumena offers more for Commander than she does, but she's very interesting. So anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this video. We might get some spoilers later today, so if I make another video, that's why. So far, I think these are pretty cool cards. I definitely think Rivals is giving us a lot to work with. Anyway, you guys let me know what you think about these cards. Let me know where you think these could see some play. Always wanting to hear your guys' input. Anyway, you all have a wonderful day. Void here, signing off.